how would you like to make your first million? And today we have the author of Entrepreneurial Compassion, Carl Relay. So Carl, tell us, what are the 5 steps they recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Thank you, Harry. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. So I think step one, I think this is obviously the first step, is you've got to find something that is of immense value to other people. That's step one. And you actually have to care about it. If it's something that you don't really care about, if it's something where we're just trying to go out and just make money just to make money, everybody's out there doing that. You're not going to float to the top doing that. So that's step one. Step two is you've got to do it better than anyone else. And you're going to be able to do it better than anyone else if you really and truly care about it. So that's step two. So step three is you've got to care deeply about your team. You've got to care deeply about your team, because you can't scale you, right? As entrepreneurs, we try to do it all. We try to be it all. And that's a lot of the reason why I wrote this book, is Entrepreneurial Compassion, is no one will ever care how much you know until they know how much you care. You've got to care about your team deeply and authentically. Step four is you've got to follow through and iterate. You've got to follow through on the promises that you make. As you grow, you got to continue to deliver. And then that goes right into step five, which is you got to continue to get better. As entrepreneurs, oftentimes, like, we get into this rut, right, where we've done something so well for so long, we just kind of stay there. And it's like, oh, wow, this is comfortable. Like, I'm making a couple of bucks here. Like, this is good. And it's like, what got you here will not get you there. The thinking and doing that got you to where you are right now will not get you to the next level. You've got to graduate, right? I don't know, Harry, if you're familiar. One time somebody asked Richard Branson, they said, Richard Branson, what do you need to do differently? What do I need to do differently to go from being a millionaire with a couple $100 million to being a billionaire? He said, you've got to get rid of all of your bad millionaire habits. That's what he said. He said, you've got to get rid of that, because that's not going to get you to the next level, right? Yeah. So that's a great question, Harry.
Absolutely, 100%. And yes, we find out that, and scaling up, you have to be able, people said, well, you have to learn. Well, it's better that you learn how to unlearn, because what get you from 0 to 100,000 or to 1 million is completely different. How you need to go from 1 million to 10 million, completely different, 10 million to 100 million. So you actually have to unlearn and learn more in terms of scaling up. But I love the title of your book, Entrepreneurial Compassion. So what do you really mean with this title?
Yeah, no. So this book was a labor of love for me. This book actually stems from something terrible that happened when my brother died by suicide. And during that time of kind of exploring his death, was a pretty hard time for me. And I had to take that and try to find something to do with it. So the more that I thought about my life, and I'm a business coach too, so I coach entrepreneurs. So the more that I thought about my life and the more that I thought about my clients, the more that I realized that us as entrepreneurs, we have this unquenchable drive. Like, we have it. Nobody's going to take that from us. Like, you have that drive. They couldn't pry it out of your hands. Nobody's taking that from you, right? But a lot of times that drive can be off-putting. We can sometimes push people away. We can sometimes like shove a little bit, right? And like, hey, get me to the front of the line, right? So this book is all about how to maintain that drive, because we need that, right? But how to also be really compassionate and also really deeply care about our people. Because when I took a look back at my life after my brother's death, I realized something. And I realized something about all of my coaching clients, that when I've been truly successful, it's when I've been driven, but when I've also been compassionate, because that's the force multiplier. That's the thing that took me to the next level and is going to get me to the next level after this is my people, right? You can't scale you. And when I look at my clients and I look at my life and my experiences, when we are this way, when we're compassionate, when we care, not only is it good for us and for our mental health, it's good for our clients. They see us as a healthy company. They want to do more business with us. It's good for our employees. We achieve more goals. Companies that are compassionate, that are led in a compassionate way, achieve more goals. And oh, by the way, they are more profitable than their peers that don't care about each other. You can take that to the bank. And I think that this concept is one of the most underrated things in business today, is this concept of compassion. And it's got to start from within. So it's got to start with we got to care about ourselves first. Because if we're not authentic, right, Harry? Like if we come up and I say, man, Cal, why did you do that? Oh God. And I'm doing negative self-talk to myself. People see that and they know, like, man, if he's talking to himself about like that, how does he feel about us? Right? Because our teams can piss us off sometimes. They can, right? When they don't do it all.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. But then I think it's great that you mentioned this, because it's a topic that not too many people talk about it. Okay, but you see, a conflict happen when two people are thinking that haven't been fair with the another one at the same time. So then you have a conflict. Now, imagine a company when you have the founder that built that company and the relationship with the employees, right? So if the employee doesn't perform, the founder feel that he is not fair. He built it without getting paid. And then now you are here getting paid and still you don't do not even the minimum that you require. So now the founder. On the other hand, employee might be not performing because, number one, the culture of himself doesn't match the culture of the company, which maybe is full of the HR person that bring him on the first place.
Or he could be in the
nothing
wrong
to
seat.
do.
Maybe he doesn't get it. Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't get it. What's going on?
Yeah.
But then you have the conflict, and that conflict, when it scale up, exactly what you described, is argument, is bad energy, and this bad energy, when it's on the space, it goes to the clients, it goes to employees, it
You
goes
can
to
feel it.
Yeah. When people open the office, you
Yeah.
can feel that energy, and then the people wonder what the company don't perform. So it takes a lot of compassion from the CEO or from the person in charge, but the person in charge, no, they don't know. He doesn't know any better. There is no school for become a great business leader. They would be very wise if they can have a coach like you that brought them into this new paradigm.
Thank you.
What if you humble? What if you are compassion?
Well, that's kind of you to say, and I think something that you talk about, Harry, is when an employee is not performing, right? A lot of people think that the compassionate thing to do is to keep them around. That's actually not compassionate, because there's a place where that guy or gal would crush it. So we're actually holding them back. We're doing them a disservice, and we're hurting our company because we're not freeing them from this. Because a lot of times employees won't leave, right? A lot of times they'll just stay in the job and just do the job, right? But it's up to us as leaders. If there's somewhere better for that person to be, we've got to free them up. And I mean, I'm not saying you have to go help them find that, but that would be nice too, right? If we could maybe you'd be a better fit in X, Y, and Z. But yeah, I think it's actually not helpful for anybody for us to keep doing that, right? It's almost like toxic. Like they're not meeting our expectations. They're not happy. We're not happy. The company's not happy. It's like, what are we doing, right? So it's like when I was in the military, we have this saying, and when we think about, we're all on a boat together, right? And I like to tell this to my clients, like, guys, if there's a hole in the boat and we're all either trying to plug the hole or get the water out of the boat, right? But then we've got the guy who's changing his socks. And it's like, dude, you're worried about your socks. We're trying to get the water out of the boat here. Like, are we all really on the same mission, right? So those types of people are easier to say, like, hey, you're not a good fit here. You need to go, right?
Yeah, but then look, I'm glad that you bring this up because this personal experience that I have in my own company, when um, it went to the point that exactly I changed from this egocentric business owner at the beginning. You don't know what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you have this big ego, and everybody has to do what you said, and then you go to this
Yep.
office, would you be the persona, and and
I've
after
been
two
there.
years after 2 years you realize that you are exhausted, you're tired, you're doing all the job, and it's not moving forward. So when you surrender that ego,
Yeah.
then you are and be compassion, exactly you described now, and you allow the team to grow. They become better than yourself, to the point that one day I arrived to the office and they told me, Harry, go home, we don't need you anymore. Then
Which is, that's what we want, right?
oh my, the first day I was a little bit confused. The second one I was very happy, but the first one I was confused. I'm thinking, like, I got fired from my own company, I don't understand what's going on. But
That's the
the
dream.
second day, wow, my
Yeah.
manager told me, look, I will see
Hey,
you
we
once
got
a
it.
month or 2 hours to tell you what I'm doing with the company. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Yeah, this is how we're gonna be, because she said that I was distracting them going to
Well,
the
it
office.
sounds like you did a good
To,
job at empowering them, right? Like
however, however, in that process, uh, in the middle, in the transition from me surrendering my ego
yeah.
and be compassionate, allow them space. There were a couple of employees in between that process that uh, they were telling me how to run the company,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know how to react to that, because I'm thinking, okay, I'm giving them a space to the employees, and I'm giving them. I remember that I put a sign in my office that said, okay, if you have a problem, come with 3 solutions, and then you bring the 3 solutions. You pick which solution you want. If it works, it works.
Mm,
If it doesn't, we change it, right? So it was kind
right.
of that dynamic that I started to go in the office. But there were a couple of employees that took that like an advantage to tell me how to run the company that I built, and also it was driving more at this particular interest of those individuals rather than
Hmm.
the
So they
common
were
goal.
okay.
So it was a little bit. I mean, I came okay at the other side, but this
It
process
wasn't
is
for the
not is
greater.
not yeah. This process is no like black and white. There are gray moments
Yeah.
in the between that I would like that you touch know a lot about the subject, to describe a little bit more how what
Yeah.
message do you have for entrepreneurs that are listening to this? They resonate. They know exactly. They are tired. They are exhausted. They
Yep.
know that they have to change, right? But they are
Yep.
scared because they know that as soon as they release some control, can we call it control,
Yeah.
to the team, some people will miss understand that, and we will try to basically take over your own company. What's your view on this, and what message do you have for entrepreneurs?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, there's a lot of things I want to talk about there. So the first thing, it was really interesting, Harry, what you said about, hey, when you have a problem, I want you to come to me with solutions, right? This is a very common response that entrepreneurs have, is don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. I would challenge that as not the ideal way to be a leader. I would challenge that. Here's my thinking around that, right? Just bear with me. When we do that, we're potentially dismissing and not getting them to bring the best ideas, right? So the reason why I say that is, when an employee brings a problem, right? This is an opportunity for you. When we just say bring me solutions and don't bring me problems, we lose the opportunity as leaders to evaluate them and see, like, all right, what is going on in this person's mind, right? Like, can this person be the person who's going to run this thing one day? Should I be promoting this person? Is this person going to be at X, Y, and Z in a couple of years? And when we're curious with that employee and we ask them really great questions. We say, okay, so what's the problem? What's the real problem here? And we dig in and we get really, really curious, right? Genuinely curious, right? And I write about this in my book, not pretend curious, where it's like, okay, how do we get to the solution, right? It's like, but think to yourself, like, what is this person kind of going through? What are they bringing here, right? Why are they bringing this to me? Like, should this even come to me, right? When we say, bring me 3 solutions, right? Then they show up with 3 solutions and you might pick a solution that you shouldn't even be solving because somebody else should be solving that, right? And as entrepreneurs, that's the worst thing we can do is start solving everybody's problems, right? Because then we got a whole company and everybody's coming to us. And then we're really running the company and then it's running us, right? So I just wanted to talk about that because I thought that was really interesting. And I used to do that too. I used to say, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions, right? The more that I read though, the more that I find that when we're really engaged with people, when we're really tuned in and we say like, okay, what's the real problem with that? Like, okay, that's interesting. Well, what would you have done if you didn't come see me? What are you thinking about doing? Right. And then they start brainstorming and you see all of these kind of ideas take shape and then you leave them with something. And there's another book about this. It's called the Coaching Habit. It has a great information on this type of stuff of like, what are you thinking about doing next? Things like that, trying to get them to like kind of add
using the problem to engage with them. Yeah, this is exactly what you described. This is how I actually managed to know them.
Yeah, absolutely.
when I changed the dynamic, exactly what you described. Yeah, amazing.
Is that how you let go? Is that how you get to the point where they were running it?
We were no, at the moment that because before they would come in and telling me I had this problem, I was telling do that. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it. It was finished. Conversation finished. And this was not working, right? So they come with more problems and waiting for me to do that. But as soon as they came with the problem and I say, okay, what are we gonna do about it?
Yep.
I said, what? Tell me what to do. I said, well, how about we work out this together?
Yeah.
How about do you have 3 solutions? Think about the solution.
Yep.
What do you think can be done? Oh, can I think of that? Of this and this? Okay, try to develop these 2. Go around and when you close it, and come and tell me what do you pick your favorite. So that type of dynamic, I love it what you said. You use the problem to engage in this connection with the team member, and that was amazing. Make a huge difference, not only in my business, in my life.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So, but so what happened when you are in between? What happened when you're going through this process and some employees try to take over? Moving the agenda in their own interest.
I think that's where
I'm telling you, okay, we shouldn't be doing this because the company is not going to do well, blah blah blah, and then maybe let's suppose that we are implementing an idea that needs to be implemented at 7 p.m. in the evening, and that's the best for the company, right? And then you have this employee that want to take over and saying 3,000 excuses why this idea cannot be taken at this time. But the truth is because, I don't know, he played tennis at this time or he does something else at this time. Yeah. And there is no way that he's going to quit what he's doing in his personal life to meet the goal of the whole company. And that if this strategy doesn't get implemented at 7 p.m., it's not going to be company for anybody because the company will collapse. That's how important. So how you navigate this?
Well, there's a book that I can recommend that I'll tell you. So I will say, right, the people on our teams will only be team players if they know that we care, right? We cannot fake it. We can't fake it.
100%. If you don't care about them, they won't care about you and your business.
They won't.
And that's the end of it.
And nor should they, right? Nor should they. So that guy who wants to go play tennis at 7, he's going to go play tennis at 7 unless he knows that you really, really care. And this is kind of where sometimes as entrepreneurs, we got to put our money where our mouth is, right? And I've done this in my life as an entrepreneur where I've had somebody come to me and they've had some health issues or their spouse has had some health issues. And I've let people take, 3, 6, 9 months off paid, right? But guess what? When those people come back after that,
Oh, they are on fire.
they're on fire, and they will never leave. They are with me they are ride or die, man. And you better believe that guy or gal is going to make it happen at 7, and they'll cancel the tennis match, right? Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's where it comes from. We've got to really care about them. We got to really, really care about it. It can't be fake. And we can't do it for the money. We can't say I'm doing this to make more money, because they're going to know. It's got to be true. It's got to be real, right? Because they can, like, we can smell, we know as human beings when someone's not being authentic with us, when someone doesn't really, really care, we can smell it a mile away. And it's just off-putting, right? We've got to really care, and we've got to show them that we care, but it's got to start with ourselves, right? So, like, a lot of times there's this idea that we can start caring about other people, and like, okay, I'm going to show this guy that I care by sending him a card or going to his office and saying, hey. And unless we've done the work, unless we've done the hard work to look deep in ourselves and to become self-aware, right? Doing the journal every day, where's our mind at, right? And this is how we become a better entrepreneur too. Meditating, I meditate pretty much every day. I'm not perfect at it, and I'm not perfect at any of this, I'll say, right? I'm not Buddha or anything like that. I'm not like levitating here. But I will say, the more that we spend time working with and being okay with ourselves, right, the more that we're going to be able to be present and aware and authentic with other people. You can't care about other people unless you truly love and care about yourself, right? So when I mess something up at work and I say, man, Cal, you effed that up. Like, I can't believe, oh, such an idiot. Like, people see that, right? And they know, they say, man, if he's going to talk about himself like that, like if I hear somebody talking to themselves badly, man, I can only imagine what they're saying about me, right? So like, we've got to really care about ourselves, and that's the first step, Harry. That's like the way that we've got to be, you know?
Tell us about your previous business. What was the biggest challenge that you faced, and how you overcome that challenge?
The biggest challenge that I faced. Well, I think the biggest challenge that I faced, so I was in the military. I wasn't one of these entrepreneurs that was born an entrepreneur and, wrote 10 books by the time they were 14 and had 50 businesses. And
no one
that wasn't me, right? I was a military guy, and I got out of the military after about 10 years, and I joined my family construction business, my dad's company. And I got to work with him for a couple of years, and we had a great time working together. But unfortunately, he passed away shortly after I joined the business, and that was the hardest time for me. I found myself working 90 hours a week and still grieving his loss, right? And this was a couple of years ago, and it was painful. It was probably, out of those 90 hours I was working, probably only 85% of that was not productive. Like, it was a lot of wasted time.
Are not your clients reminding you of that, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because they were asking for him all the time, right?
No, not really. I think that they all knew. My clients knew kind of what happened, but for me, I think the biggest lesson learned was that that's where that compassion lesson really started for me. Is, if I care about my team enough, they're going to make it happen. I can't be with every single client. I can't call every single client all the time. I can't deliver every product. I can't deliver every service, but my team can. And if my team knows that I really care, then they're going to show the client that we care as a team, right? But if my team doesn't think that I care, then they're not going to bring it for that client. They're not going to deliver that value, right?
So tell us about your favorite chapter in the book. And remember that people listening in the car or in the gym. So can you please mention the title of the book and the subtitles and the details, just in case that people want to get it.
Sure, yeah.
And they're listening they're only listening. And tell us what's your favorite chapter and why.
Absolutely. So the title of the book is Entrepreneurial Compassion. And the subtitle is An Entrepreneur's Journey Through Combat, Suicide, and the Discovery of Compassionate Leadership. So I'm the author, Cal Riley. I think, honestly, my favorite chapter is the SOP for compassion. So in the military, we have this thing called an SOP. It's a standard operating procedure. It's the way that you do something, right? And what I
Yeah.
found before I wrote this book is that, Harry, I think it's 59 or 62%, something like that, of entrepreneurs cannot read a whole book, right? We've got too much ADD. We've got too much going on. Like we just can't do it, right? So in the book, my favorite part of it, because I'm one of those, believe it or not, is this SOP. And it's a shorter version of the book in
Me
the
too.
book
Me too.
that just describes the whole book. You too. Yeah, I can tell. So in this SOP, I just kind of take the reader through the journey and I just give them kind of the highlight. So a couple of bullet points, right, of how to do it, right? And there's 12 points that I make, right? And I'll just talk you through those first. So the first thing is we call it a TACSOP. So I was in the Army, we called it a tactical SOP. So a TACSOP, standard operating procedure. So this is not, the first thing I kind of talk about is how it's not a step-by-step process, right? This is a lifelong journey, right? And this is a journey, it's a commitment that you've got to make, but even just one step will help you get better at this, right? So this is kind of the reference guide to it. So I'll just kind of like read a couple of lines from that. So the first line, number one, is take time to reflect. The second one is let go of control. Number three is get curious. Number four is give yourself a break. We got to give ourselves a break. Number five is to assess whether problems are root issues or symptoms. Number six is to invest in people and relationships. And number seven is be kind, not just nice. We got to be kind, not just nice. They're very different. Number eight is prepare to be compassionate, even when times are tough. Number nine, lead from shared values. Number 10 is to keep assessing and learning and getting better. Number 11, celebrate success and recognize progress. And number 12 is get help. And I can walk you through those individually in a little more detail if you'd like, but those are kind of the 12.
And then the next question is regarding being an entrepreneur and the military. So there are things that you guys learn in the military about leadership that over there you guys take leadership to a next level, because somebody is not going to lead, people can die.
Yep.
And so you get there to train to become a great leader, but also about discipline, which is something that that's very important in business and in life. So what lesson from the military do you think that you brought to the entrepreneurship world? Even in this podcast, a lot of ex-military entrepreneurs have been in this broadcast, several, and so there are quite common that people finishing or exiting the military, they become entrepreneurs, are actually good entrepreneurs because they have leadership and discipline. So what else do you think that you inherited from this background that help you to grow your business?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think you talked about discipline, Harry. I think the discipline is, that's something that you won't be a successful entrepreneur without discipline, period. Right. And that's got to flow throughout the organization, right? The whole organization has to have that discipline. And that's something that I think that the military does a really good job at training us how to be disciplined, right? But being disciplined at the right things, right? Because if we do the wrong things and we're disciplined about doing the wrong things, well, we're not going to get the results then, right? I think that you were talking about my experience in the military and kind of the lessons learned. Well, it's interesting because in the military, they put the as a junior officer, you're one of the youngest guys in the unit, right? And you're in charge of these guys, and a lot of those guys have been doing this for a very long time. So the assumption is that they're going to follow you because they have to, right? But something that you learn, and something that I learned the hard way, I was not a very good junior officer. I was arrogant. I did not listen to my NCOs. I my guys that were under me learned a lot of lessons the hard way, right? And one of those lessons, and I read a little bit about this, but one of those lessons is that we've got to establish rapport, genuine rapport with our team, right? We've got to establish that, because the time to do that is when things are okay, right? Because when everything just goes to you know what, when things start getting really really hard, that's when relationships get strained. And if we haven't taken the time to establish those relationships when things are good, then those relationships are going to break. And that's one of the things that the military is really good at. We train under pressure, right? Our training is incredibly hard. So our training is incredibly harder than any deployment we've ever been on. All the training is always harder than the deployment, right? For the most part, with very few exceptions. And the reason why is that when we get under that stress, it's so that we don't break, right? Ourselves, but also our relationship and our team. And I think that's one of the things that we don't have in the civilian world is any kind of training like that, right? I think that's something that the military does really well, is training, but we don't really have that luxury, right? As entrepreneurs, we got to go. There's no training. You got to learn it as we're doing it, right?
Yeah, and if it doesn't work, you just lose money. You don't lose your life, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So, what are writing a book? I've been through this process, and especially if you have, you entrepreneurs, we have a very sometimes we have we had to we face problems concentrating a long period of time in something because we are used to do very little things at the same time. This is how we operate. And wow, writing a book is like a baby. It's I remember when I wrote my first book, I didn't want to let it go. You see, I was reading it. I always can improve this, and I always can improve this. So how was this process about writing a book, and when was the day that you decide that's it?
Yeah.
It's good.
No,
it can be better, but I have to let it go. Tell us what happened.
you are dead on, Harry, because it is hard. It's hard to know when to stop, right? It'll never be perfect.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
It'll never be perfect, right? There's things that I see like, oh man, but I kind of see it as two different ways, right? There's, in my opinion, right? There's two different ways to write a book. The first way is let's write it and then share it with a bunch of people. Let's get some feedback, make it the best book that it can be. Let's change it. Let's do this. Let's do that. Right. That is not what I did. This book is me. This is from me. This is my book. It's nobody else's book. And the reason why is that I think that if we try to make something that appeals to everyone, we end up making nothing.
I have to be to be from your own experience, right?
Yeah. It's got to be me.
What's
right?
the point?
Yeah, it's got to be me, right? So that's kind of the first thing. I think it's really hard to know when it's done, but I think my publishers and stuff help with that, and they said, "Hey, this is the date," and it's like, okay, it's done. I did enough, right? Yeah, it's a good question.
How long? How long took you to write it? How long took you to write it?
8 months.
Wow, big job.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the other thing as well, that once you start to write the book, organizing your ideas, all your experience in the topic that you want to write about, it becomes, you said that you were talking the other day about mental health, right? Yeah. Which is, you have exercise for the body, but writing a book is an exercise for the mind. It will get you to the next level into the mental health. Now, talking about this, how you manage to overcome these negative emotions. We have, like for example, you taking over the business from your dad when he passed away, and then you have the incident with your brother as well, and there are negative emotions, okay, that happen for you. Well, this one to your dad at least when running the business, but the brother one also is there, and and now you're running a business,
Mhm.
and your brother negative emotion is there, and then
Yeah.
you have your dad also accumulating
Yeah.
negative and negative, and it becomes a point that exactly what you say, 85% you're unproductive. um,
Yeah.
when do you realize, I've been there, okay, different
Yeah.
incidents, but again, so when was the day that you realized that you need to work on yourself and you have to deal and let go this negative emotion? Because if this negative emotion you don't deal with it in your mental health, they will
Yeah.
probably, the book help you to release part of that, but if you don't deal with this negative emotion, can become a physical pain. Emotional pain
No,
can become physical pain. You can end up with cancer, heart attack, depression,
yeah.
you name it, overweight. See, look at me, I'm
Yeah.
slightly overweight because of you deal with tough situation while running the business at the same time, and
Yeah.
you're trying to make the business work, but you have a lot going on that. So tell us, when do you learn or decide that, hold on a minute, I had to do something within myself. I had to start to
Yeah.
meditate, I had to swim, whatever worked for me. So I can come, I can decompress with that and then come and perform in the business 100%.
Mhm.
How you uh, took the decision. Many entrepreneurs never take this decision.
Yeah.
That's why you see people there 40 years working in the same business, Monday to Sunday. They don't speak with their wife, they don't speak with the
Yep.
children. Nobody understands what's going on. And it just carry this emotional baggage,
Yeah.
and never realize that, hold on, if I don't work a little bit on myself and I don't canalize this,
Yep.
I won't be able to grow. So
Yeah.
when do you realize this?
No, I think that's a great point. I think that comes up a lot, right? I think it's, when we
It happened
have
to everybody. It happened to
it
everybody. You're
does.
running a business. You're running a
We're
business.
gonna you're
Anything
gonna
that
and
happened to
loss is gonna
you,
happen.
it
Yep.
will. Anything that happened to you, it comes to you
Yeah.
parallel. You're running the business, so it's no
Yep. And
happen
you
to
still gotta run
you.
the
You're not
business.
doing, and yeah, exactly, happen to you, and
Yep.
then you go to your job. So on your job, you don't care. You get
Yeah.
paid, and no, you have this emotional baggage, but you're running the business, and you're responsible for a lot of people.
Absolutely. I think that that's where meditating comes in, and I think you mentioned that. I meditate every day. I meditate 3 times a
Wow, I'm
day.
glad. Yeah. So how
It
you find out
really
about
helps.
this? How you find out this? You read it in the book. A friend told you. You were
I read
struggling,
it.
and you need to did some search and find some solution. What happened?
Yeah, I read it. I read it for a few different places. So I do transcendental meditation. So there's a mantra that I say in my mind that I just lightly say to myself. It's not, I don't even know what it means. But you can go and find more about that. But I do that twice a day. And then I do non-sleep deep rest. It's from Dr. Andrew Huberman, who's a Harvard, I think he's a neurologist. He developed this technique, and it's on YouTube. NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. And how I found this was I used AI. So I looked on AI and I said, I'm trying to get my HRV, my heart rate variable heart rate, I think is what it is. I'm not a professional,
Hmm.
medical guy, doctor, whatever. I'm trying to get that down, right? I'm trying to live longer, or get it up rather. And this was one of the things, non-sleep deep rest was one of the things that came up. So I do
What
that.
is it?
I
Breathing therapy, or what is it?
it's breathing, and
Oh
it's
wow.
mostly breathing, yeah. But I think
Mm-hmm.
the other thing too that I do, and I wrote about this in the book a little bit, is journaling, right?
Ah,
Journaling
look,
creates
very good.
awareness, right? It creates awareness, and you can journal about your business. You can journal about the relationships in your business too. But journaling and meditating has made me so much of a better CEO, much of a better entrepreneur, better businessman. It's been just a fantastic thing for me. My social media posts are better. My engagements with clients, when I call clients, I'm able to be present more. Have you ever been on that phone call with somebody, Harry, where they're like, you can hear him typing like furiously? You're like, man, this guy's not even. Sounds like a freight train, right?
So yeah, but the thing is that when you work on your mental health, you change your state, and you come back positive, and then you can put this energy gets reflected in the rest of the thing. For me, playing tennis, going
Yeah.
for a walk, dance
Yeah.
salsa. There are a few things that that sometimes I actually need it in order to we can call it decompress.
Yeah. Decompress. Yeah.
Because the thing is that sometimes we don't notice because we are entrepreneurs, but the amount of pressure that we deal with in our daily basis is not the type of pressure that everybody else is dealing out there.
No,
In
no one,
my,
I
in
think
my,
that's important to mention I think that's a really great point. I think everybody listening that's an entrepreneur, there's nobody else like you. Nobody else is like you.
that's it. You alone. This
You're a lot
only the
like
people of the podcast, and
just the
that's
few of
it.
us that are listening. Everybody else they are not like you. They're
That we
not an
never
entrepreneur.
understand. Yeah, that we
Like it
never
is a
understand you.
different, it is a different mindset, man. It is very
Yeah.
different being an entrepreneur.
And don't even
We're a different
pretend.
breed.
Don't even pretend to explain for them to the people around you to understand you. Right? The
Yeah,
employee
yeah.
don't understand you. Your family doesn't understand you. Your
Yep.
no one. Your friends for college. No one.
Absolutely.
So I spent a long time of my lifetime to explain everybody around. I think my mom and my dad, they are like, podcast, what's that? And things like this, you still, when are you gonna do some work? Something like that, right? I don't have the energy, to even to go into the conversation anymore. So you are they know that you do something. They don't know what
Yeah.
you do because they don't know where you go and what you do. They
Yep.
know that you're doing something a little bit different,
Well, even where your mind
sometimes
is,
works,
right?
sometimes
How
doesn't
we think.
work. They said sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work. They always concern about what is the security, what is the safety needs,
Yeah.
and now you're doing this thing new and things like this. So you become someone that nobody understands. So everybody give an
Yep.
opinion of you, have an opinion of you, that sometimes it doesn't match reality, but uh, you also have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Absolutely.
no. I remember the first time that I went out when I opened my first business. I went out with my group of friends, and they all have work, right? And then they start to talk, oh, this is what I did in my job, this is what I did in my job, blah blah. And then I went there and I said, look guys, you're not gonna believe I opened the business, I'm selling this product, making this money, gonna do this, and nobody cares. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this is gonna be tough, this thing. And I'm dealing alone trying to take the company off the grounds. And my family say, okay, what are you doing? Just I got a degree in chemical engineering. I went to university. So
Hmm.
you're an engineer, you should be working for whatever. So then you have the parents out there. Then you have the group of friends that nobody, they don't care. And then
Us, I
then
feel like,
you don't know what you're doing, so you have to deal with employees, with clients, with marketing, with accounts, with
mhm.
a lot of things, tax, a
I
lot of
feel
things you don't have. Yeah,
like us entrepreneurs, we only get energy from each other, right? Like that's where we really get our energy from, right? Like, of course, we love being
maybe
with our
that's the main
family.
reason of this podcast. Is this one,
Yep.
every time
I
that I
love it.
have
Yeah.
podcast day, I'm so fired up,
Yeah.
and because the most important thing, I meet amazing people like you
Yeah.
here,
Thank
which
you.
is
Yeah.
light on my day. But so, Kat, what message do you have for entrepreneurs that they feel lonely and they feel that nobody understand them?
Yeah.
We all been there, but what can you tell them from your heart?
I think it is lonely, right? It's lonely being an entrepreneur. I think from a mental health standpoint, I think, seeking help if you're in trouble and you need help, seeking help isn't, we have to do that, right? Because we have too many people counting on us, right? We've got to seek that help. We can make our business great, but if we're not working on ourselves, that's what it's all about, right? And we can make these amazing companies. We got to make sure that we're taking good care of ourselves. But I think when I think about entrepreneurs and what we can do, right? We take great care of ourselves, take great care of our teams. Everything else just becomes so much easier. It just makes the rest of it so much easier and more fun. It just makes life so much better, right? When we make it about the other people in our lives, I think in terms of the entrepreneurial loneliness, peer groups are awesome. There's so many great entrepreneurial peer groups. These types of things,
Mhm.
listening to podcasts like what you've got going on, Harry, just such a fantastic podcast here.
Thank you.
And making sure that we're staying tied into with each other, right? Because it's lonely at the top. It's lonely.
Mm-hmm. So, Carl, if someone is in love with our conversation, want to find out more about you and about your book, how
Yeah.
people can find it, how this process works, can you share a little bit more about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, first thing is feel free to go to my website. It's calriley.com, CALRILEY.com. Again, CALRILEY.com. I have a free survey on there. So you can check in and see how are you doing with this stuff? How compassionate of a leader you are. So free
Wow,
survey,
very good.
take the survey, see how you're doing, right? Order the book. The book's available there. It's on Amazon as well. And then feel free, if you're an entrepreneur and you've got a company and you want to get really good at this stuff, you can apply to work with me there. But the book can help you a lot with that too. So those are the 3 things that you can do.
Thank you so much. And in LinkedIn, how can they find you?
I'm all over the place. Yeah, I'm
Very
on
good.
LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, and I'm on LinkedIn, Cal Riley. That's probably the best one.
That's fantastic. So thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you,
That
Harry.
has been a pleasure. Yeah, I love your book title, and
Thank you.
and I wish you the best, and let's keep moving the conversation of and the compassion between the entrepreneurs, because I get it. We all been there. Sometimes get frustrated. You're lonely. You're wearing so much hard at the same time, and you're very, very easy. You end up in this grumpy, angry, bad mood entrepreneur, especially sleeping because you're wearing all the hats. You don't have time, so you don't sleep, and then, but if you become that person, that person will be reflected in your employees, in your clients, in your dynamic of your company. But if you have a step back and you bring compassion, like I share here, you will see how the magic happens.
Absolutely.
You will see it's actually possible that the employees send you home. Imagine that. And you see that home making the money and travel the world, or you go to the office, or you work in another project because you want to, not because you have
do
to,
whatever
which
you
is
want.
something you change the dynamic completely of your life just with compassion. Listen carefully. Just with compassion, you can change the dynamic of your life. Yeah. So it sounds impossible, but it's actually, try it and you will see. Thank you so much. I think it's very profound what you wrote. Yeah. So
thank you so much. I'm humbled.
well done.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on the podcast, Harry.
Yeah. For those that have been there and through this journey, they know exactly what, and I'm glad that you wrote about, for more entrepreneurs to explore what is possible and what is available for them. From this podcast, we want all the entrepreneurs to be healthy, wealthy, and happy. So we don't only want them to grow in business. We want them to grow in business, but we want also that they have a strong mental health, and they stay healthy, and also exactly what you said. If you can do some meditation and you can be happy, you can be in positive state of mind, that also will reflect in your head and will reflect in your business. What's the point? Some people that you made there, they're making millions, and then they die out of the heart attack because they have so much stress. What's the point to have the business on the first place? So we have to work on these 360, and I think this is what your book is about. Keep the entrepreneurs alive, healthy, and in positive state of mind, so they can employ more people, they can move society to the next level. Thank you so much. And for all of you following the broadcast, see you in our next episode. How brave entrepreneurs like Carl break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.